I would now like to inform you that the teleprompter has ceased to function. Unlike a certain world leader, I do not view this as a conspiracy.
Hi, Prime Minister. Laura Stone, Globe and Mail. On the trade front, we understand that there have been detailed discussions on steel and aluminum tariffs, but significantly less on autos. So would you accept a deal that punts auto tariffs to the more extensive USMCA negotiations next year?
Canada's been very clear. We want all 232s addressed, all strategic sectors, which, for clarity.
But it's not being discussed.
Well, you don't know that. You don't know that. I know what's being discussed. I'm part of those discussions, so Canada's position is as I just stated, and that's what we say in the room.
I'll make it quick. Good afternoon, Prime Minister. David Lau with CBC National News. We're now 2 weeks from President Trump's threatened 50% tariffs on Canadian goods. How likely is it that you'll be able to fend those tariffs off?
We're in the middle of negotiations, and the Minister LeBlanc, Janice Charette, who's our chief negotiator, are in Washington, as Ambassador Wiseman, obviously there in a series of meetings related to this. I'm very involved in this as well, and we'll see. But I'll refer back to my previous answer in terms of the scope of what Canada wants to move forward on, which is across all strategic sectors, including the specific question from Ms. Stone, I think, was about autos as well, and that very much at the core of what we're talking about.
The U.S. is trying to dismantle the International Criminal Court, and Washington wants to allies to withdraw membership and funding. Are you doing anything to defend the ICC, and why haven't you spoken up for the Canadian judge under American sanctions?
Well, first, Canada is a proud member of the International Criminal Court. We support it with funding, we support it with personnel, we support it with our values, we support it with our actions. And we will continue to do so. It provides an essential service in a world that is more dangerous, more divided. In fact, in many respects, its responsibilities are ever greater. I think you can see the attachment to which the government places to these values and the rule of law and the importance of the rule of law in the appointments that we have been making.
The Canadian judge?
And the judge will provide support as needed, and we work with our American colleagues on a variety of issues to work to achieve results. But our support for the ICC is unequivocal.
Notice the sequence there. A joke about a broken teleprompter aimed squarely at a leader known for blaming machines and conspiracies for his own failures. Then, without missing a beat, two reporters try to pin Carney down on trade, and he doesn't flinch on either one. When Laura Stone suggests auto tariffs aren't really being discussed, he corrects her flatly. He's in the room, she isn't. When David Common asks if Canada can fend off Trump's 50% tariff threat in 2 weeks, he doesn't promise victory. He promises he's fighting for every sector, not a partial deal. And on the International Criminal Court, while Washington pressures its own allies to walk away from it, Carney calls Canada's support unequivocal. 4 different flashpoints with the U.S. in a row, and not one moment of hedging. But confronting Washington was only half of that press conference. The other half was about proving Canada doesn't need Washington's permission to get things done at home.
So there's big progress now being made directionally on affordability. We need to do much more to get things where they need to be. That brings us right here. What was a parking lot, 2444 Eglinton, is now, as you see, a construction site for Kennedy Green, the largest affordable housing development in this province in more than a quarter century. And Kennedy Green's backed by $289 million in financing from the Canadian government. But it's happening not just because of the money, but because we're building together. And that's what partnerships can do. Just 4 months ago, Mayor Chow and I stood with Premier Ford to announce a new partnership between the federal government and the government of Ontario. One that's cutting taxes and fees on new homes in this province that can mean up to a reduction of $200,000. In June, through that partnership, the City of Toronto secured $1.5 billion to cut residential development charges by 40 to 60%. And that partnership is also building the transit that neighborhoods need to cut commute times, to connect people to their jobs, their schools, and their homes. New transit that includes the new Waterfront East Line that will serve more than 150,000 people and in and of itself enable 75,000 new homes. That includes expanded all-day GO service across Greater Golden Horseshoe and rapid transit that reaches deeper into the city than ever before, from the Ontario line to, you guessed it, the Scarborough subway extension. Partout au pays, avec nos partenaires, nous travaillons avec nos partenaires pour bâtir des communautés fortes. Des partenariats qui nous permettent de lutter contre la crise de logement sur tous les angles. Nous renforçons la manière dont ce pays bâtit, afin qu'un logement et la belle vie qu'il offre soient à la portée de chaque Canadien et Canadienne. So, to today, I'm proud to announce a new housing agreement between the Government of Canada and the City of Ontario. Or, sorry, the City of Ontario. It's a takeover. I don't know, I've got Ford on my mind, you've got the City of Toronto. Government of Canada, City in Toronto. Let's put this in context. Over the next 3 years, the Government of Canada will invest $2.7 billion. And by the way, that $2.7 billion, that's distinct from what I talked about earlier, that $1.5 billion. We will invest $2.7 billion to build more than 18 housing projects across this city. We're starting by creating more than 5,600 new rental homes that a broad range of Torontonians can afford. North of 1,800 of those homes will be deeply affordable, supportive, or rent controlled. Thank you. And we're moving fast. You see the shovels behind me. We will have shovels in the ground on 80% of this portfolio. That means more than 4,500 homes by the end of this year. Yeah. As I suggested at the start, every home in this portfolio will be a rental. And they span together the entire continuum of rental housing, from supportive to affordable homes. And it's a partnership that builds on every component of a healthy housing ecosystem. So what does that mean for Torontonians? It means at Scarborough, at 158 Borough Drive, hundreds of families, seniors, and essential workers will have a home in the heart of the community on the rise, beside the Civic Center and the Town Center and the new Scarborough Center Station. That's right, coming to you. It means that the Parkdale Hub, in the West End, a new 16-story complex will move forward, finally, creating more affordable places to live in one of the neighborhoods that has been hardest hit by rising rents and rising evictions. Those are just two of the examples of the 18 projects we're announcing today. 18 communities across this city, tens of thousands of new places for Torontonians to call home. And we're executing this, we're building through two channels. First, and crucially, is non-market, non-profit housing delivered through Build Canada Homes. And thank you, Anna Bilal, for your leadership there. Specifically, the federal government is investing more than $310 million to advance 9 projects on city-owned land, nearly 1,900 homes, more than 700 meeting the strict definition of affordable housing. That means that rent will cost less than 30% of a household's pre-tax income. All of these projects had been approved in the past. All of these projects were ready to build, many of them for a long period of time. All of them were stalled for want of financing until today, Canadian government putting up the capital to get them built, and the City of Toronto contributing one of the most valuable resources a city can offer to improve a project's affordability, which is public land. And on top of that, the City of Toronto providing more than $530 million in capital and incentives, including a 99-year exemption from municipal and school property taxes. The second channel that we're building on is market rate housing, homes built by the private sector and backed by attractive financing. And this is where the CMHC's apartment construction loan program comes in. The federal government, through that facility, is providing more than $1.8 billion in low-cost financing for 9 projects. They will create 3,700 new homes, of which 1,000 will be affordable. That includes new rental homes near Corktown on Ontario Street and the redevelopment of the former downtown coach terminal just steps from City Hall. I've been there. I went to that coach terminal. We're going further still, with up to $600 million in additional financing capacity. So that's additional capacity that's available out of that overall amount, so that the City of Toronto can move forward as soon as other opportunities become ready. So what we're announcing today is a big component of what the type of housing and the scale of housing that Toronto needs. Not luxury condos, but homes that people can afford. Places that they can build their lives in, places near the subway, schools, grocery stores, for working families, for students, seniors. Now, as Gregor mentioned a moment ago, we know it's not just about what we build, as important as housing in, but it's also how we build it. So we're building inclusively. At 15 Denison Avenue, one of the projects, we're building a 100-unit Indigenous-led supportive housing development. We're building in solidarity with union workers. The portfolio alone will support over 2,100 jobs every year during construction. And we're building sustainably. You take the project on Dundas Street West, where there was a parking lot. We're building a state-of-the-art housing development with mass timber construction, geothermal energy, low-carbon design strategies. Above all, we're building Canadian, with Canadian steel, Canadian lumber, Canadian workers. Now, I'm warming up to hand over to the mayor, so I'm going to go back to Toronto's greatness. Think of what drives that greatness: a food scene like nowhere else, research hospitals that lead the world, a tech industry that rivals any other on the planet, thriving music, film, entertainment industry. But the fundamental greatness of Toronto comes from its people. And the fact is that too many Torontonians have been struggling to afford their rent. Today's announcement is a big part of changing that. By building at scale across the entire rental continuum, we're making Toronto a model. Strong communities, safe communities, communities that people can afford. Les Canadiens et Canadiennes ont confié à notre nouveau gouvernement le mandat de bâtir un Canada plus fort, un pays où chacun a plus d'occasions d'aller de l'avant avec des communautés plus sûres et des logements abordables. We're building Scarborough strong, Toronto strong, and Canada strong for everyone. And we're just getting started.
A broken teleprompter, a trade war 2 weeks from a new deadline, an international court under attack from Washington, and a $2.7 billion housing announcement, all handled in the same afternoon, in the same tone, steady, unbothered, entirely uninterested in playing defense. That's not a prime minister managing a crisis. That's a prime minister setting the terms. Do you think Carney's approach, refuse to panic, refuse a partial deal, keep building at home regardless, is the right strategy against Trump's pressure campaign? Or is it just calm messaging? Subscribe to Unbiased Canada, hit like, and let us know in the comments.